welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Dan O'Weiler here on behalf of Sterling Financial. Well, welcome. How are you?
Lisa, good to see you again. How have you been?
Good, good. You know, just working hard, just like we all are, right? Trying to get through our COVID thing.
Yeah, and Omicron and everything, and I don't know. I mean, don't get me started.
All right. Well, we will have you start on how to minimize the chance.
Well, I just thought that we get into our tax season from January to April 15th. Everybody's kind of trying to gather all their information, and I thought we could talk about things that might trigger an IRS audit. And so,
sure, sounds good.
So I just thought that as we start to prepare our taxes, there probably should be some things you're aware of that might trigger an audit. And two of the most important things is don't lie.
Right.
And so the thing about it is a lot of times people will overestimate their deductions. And one of the things that is key to that is charitable deductions. I'll give a couch to Goodwill and I'll estimate that it's $2,500 when it really was, $300 or something.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And so you want to be careful on overestimating your charitable deductions. Now, I do have clients that tithe their income during the year to their church or whatever. So they're paying a tithing. And so what brings a red flag is if you have an increase in your charitable deductions in one particular year.
I see.
You could be giving $10,000 or $20,000 a year to your church, and if you've done that consistently over the last 10 years, that's not going to create a red flag. But if all you've been doing is giving a few clothes to Goodwill, and then all of a sudden you donate $20,000, that brings a red flag to the IRS.
Exactly.
So you want to be careful about overinflating your deductions. The other thing is underestimating your income. Sometimes people will try to get away with not declaring all of their income. And the problem is if you've received a 1099 from a bank or investment that you've received and you don't want to declare that, unfortunately that's recorded with the IRS anyway.
Right.
And so you need to be careful. A lot of times people might be in the waitressing or not declaring all their tips.
Right.
That's another issue because it's all cash. And so those are the two big things that come into play in regards to maybe triggering an audit, lying about your deductions and underestimating your income.
Right. And the other thing that I think is important, like you had mentioned, is don't underestimate your income, meaning wait for all of your forms. So when are they supposed to get all their forms?
Technically, it's January 31st.
Okay.
I'm still getting forms from people. So I get 1099s probably through the middle of February. And so I think legally it's January 31st. That might have changed. I'm not sure, but I think it's January 31st or maybe April or February 15th. But some people are anxious to get all of their forms and their income taxes in.
Right.
And they want to maybe get a tax return or whatever it might be. So they sometimes maybe fill out their tax forms before they get all of their income in.
Okay. All right. And what are some other things that they should be
well, you want to make sure, I mean, TurboTax has been a popular thing lately. My son uses TurboTax. We use a tax preparer, but my son uses TurboTax, and you put all your information and deductions in there, and they kind of, spit it out for you.
Right.
One of the things, if you're using a tax preparer, you want to make sure you get a reputable one. You don't want to have a problem because ultimately you're responsible for your tax return. And so if you have somebody prepare your taxes, you should review that and make sure that they're getting the right information. They're not overinflating your deductions or underestimating your income because you have to sign that, send it in, and so ultimately you're stating that the information on that return is correct.
Right.
So make sure you get a reputable tax preparer if you've got somebody that's doing your taxes. So that's one thing, and making sure that you're not underestimating your income and overestimating your deductions.
Right. Now, is there an average cost that someone charges?
Well, that varies with whether or not you get a CPA or just a tax preparer or whatever it is. CPAs tend to run a little bit more than just an average income tax preparer. You can go to H&R Block and those types of things, and you have people advertising it will do your taxes for $99. Well, you kind of get what you pay for sometimes. I know that there's a lot of tax preparers that will do it for $99, and then they want to invest your money for you. And so they're using that as kind of a loss leader for them. I'll prepare your taxes for $99, but let me invest your money for you.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just you just need to be aware of what the whole process is of choosing a tax preparer for you.
Now, you mentioned you are receiving forms, so do you do taxes for people?
I don't. I stick with what we're good at.
Okay.
I mean, there are financial advisory firms that do taxes. We don't. We have some CPAs that we can refer our clients to, and unfortunately, we know enough about taxes to get in trouble, but not enough to get out of trouble. And so we don't prepare taxes, and we leave that to the professionals that, you know, when I need a plumber, I call a plumber. I don't try to do it, you know, or an electrician.
Right.
There's some things that I can, you know, I can put up some crown molding or baseboards in my house, but I don't get into plumbing or electricity. I hire somebody to do that for me.
Okay, all right. So this is just a good time to be talking about these kinds of things.
Yeah, I just thought that, you know, the big things, you know, don't lie, because if you do get audited, and getting audited sometimes doesn't mean that you have to sit down with a IRS agent. They will send you a letter asking, hey, can you verify these deductions? And so you need to be able to provide documentation that from Goodwill or whoever it is that you donated some things to. I donate to my church every year, and I get a receipt from my church that verifies my donation to the church. You just have to provide that to the IRS. If you've overinflated your deductions and they write you a letter, that doesn't necessarily mean you're being having a formal audit. It's just that, hey, clarify this for me. And do that. And if you do, it usually goes away, because if you've got the documentation that can take care of that, you won't ever hear from them again. They just want, prove it to me that you did donate these things, or your income was what it was. So overall, if you've got some documentations, you're not going to get into trouble.
All right, well, perfect. Well, if somebody wants to know more information, where should they go?
Well, they can call us at 949-859-8900.
All right.
And we'd be happy to sit down with them and not just about this, but their overall retirement plan or income options of whatever it might be.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks again for the information.
Hey, good to have you.
And if you want more information, you can always go to their website, which is sterlingfa.com. We'll be right back.